Our book of choice is Lord of the Flies by William Golding, and the book starts off with a plane crash, and two kids named Ralph and Piggy find themselves stranded on the islands by themselves, until Ralph finds a conch shell that he ultimately blows into. The conch shell signaled everyone on the island to meet at one spot. All the people on the island turned out to be between the ages of 6 and 12. They elect Ralph as the leader because he's the oldest, and that made Jack jealous. The conch shell allowed one person to speak at a time. This allowed each person to introduce themselves. Little ones, which is another word for little kids in the society on the island, reported that they saw a beast on the island, but it turned out to be their imagination. It turned out to be just an animal or just a dead body from war. On the island, everyone had different priorities, like Jack and Ralph. Jack mainly hunted for food, and he was a co-leader. And hunting for food was just a short-term goal to stay alive because they're hungry. But Jack was a real leader, and he made fire signals and shelters for the long-term goal to get rescued. Thus, they created two different tribes because they saw two different priorities. On the island, people had different priorities and different roles. Jack was a co-leader and mainly hunted for food, which was the short-term goal to stay alive because they're hungry. Ralph was a true leader because he made fire signals and shelters for the long-term goal of getting rescued. Thus, he created two different tribes because they had two different priorities. At first, everyone stayed with Ralph because they thought they would get rescued soon. But then they all secretly migrated to Jack's side of the tribe because he had more food. Ultimately, at the end of the novel, Jack and Ralph get into a huge fight, setting the whole island on fire. But then a man saw the fire and came to the rescue. And the theme is that when in desperation, human nature naturally leads to savagery and animal instincts.
Hello, my name is Michael, and today I'm going to be talking about Lord of the Flies and the author of Lord of the Flies, William Golding. William Golding's style and writing mainly consists of imagery and symbolism. He uses all five senses and symbolizes the stuff that the groups in the story encounter. For example, when Ralph and Piggy spot a conch and impose a rule of the conch on themselves, which symbolizes law and order and civilization. So, example of imagery. But before I give you a quote from the book, I need the book itself. Thanks, bro. What page was it?
Page 10.
Alright, man, thanks. Alright. Page 10. Alright, so now I'm going to be reading a quote from the book, and so I'm going to be starting right now. The shore was fledged with palm trees. These stood or leaned or reclined against the light, and their green feathers were 100 feet up in the air. The ground beneath them was a bank covered with coarse grass, torn everywhere by the upheavals of fallen trees, scattered with decaying coconuts and palm saplings. Now, from the quote I just read, from the book Lord of the Flies, this is imagery. So you can bet your money that imagery is going to be in the book. Another type of William Golding's writing style is symbolism. So I'm going to be reading a quote from the book. Can I have a book, please? Thank you. Alright, so what page was it?
Page 90.
Page 90. Alright. Page 90. Alright, so I'm going to begin the quote now. A hushed and anonymous voice break in. Perhaps that's what the beast is, a ghost. Assembly was shaken as by a wind. There's too much talking out of turn, Ralph said. So, from what I read right here, this symbolizes as evil and darkness. And that evil and darkness is in the hearts and souls of the kids in the groups. And that it is concluded that this is in human nature.
In Lord of the Flies, a scar symbolizes imperfection. Put into context, it supports the idea that the island has the potential to be utopia, however it has many significant flaws that stand in between this promise and as a result fails to become a dreamed utopia. The conch shell symbolizes order. The conch shell is used to call the boys on the island to get themselves organized. Its possession is authority. Moreover, the individual who holds the conch shell has the right to speak. In the book, the conch shell is described in a passage. Ralph thinking to himself, what was the sensible thing to do? There was no piggy to talk sense. There was no solemn assembly for debate nor dignity for the conch. The rock struck Piggy a glancing blow from chin to knee. The conch exploded into 1,000 white fragments and ceased to exist. Ralph said, whoever holds the conch gets to speak. Jack replied, Conch, we don't need the conch anymore. We know ought to say things. Moving on to another example of symbolism. While the group is on the island, they oftentimes use fire for warmth. Fire just so happens to represent the spirit of the civilization that must constantly be fed. Moving on to the collective items of the characters. Piggy's glasses are representative of government and political vision. Simon's butterflies are significant in the book, as butterflies are the general symbol of innocence and childhood. Moreover, the pig's head is a symbol of the stark reality of political corruption that affects the group of boys on the island in ways more negative than positive. And finally, the title of the novel is representative of the latent evil that is within each of us, but is kept checked by reason as well as social pressure. In the absence of these controls, barbarism erupts.
So, I'll be talking about Jack. Jack's a tall, thin, bony, red-headed boy, and he's one of the oldest in the group. He's a perfect example for our theme because he's violent at nature, but later becomes a real savage. So, Jack wasn't really violent at first, but he was more verbally violent, as he always bullied Piggy, shouting names at, or not really names, but he was always telling him to shut up and making fun of him. But he becomes the lead hunter to hunt pigs, which wasn't really a great idea because when you hunt things, well, you have to kill it, which made him more bloodthirsty and more violent. And you can tell he becomes more violent because after he killed the pig, they reenact killing the pig, and they used a boy as the pig. They're beating up a boy now with a stick, thinking that he's the pig because they're reenacting killing a pig. They're beating up a boy, and that's pretty violent because, well, they're thinking they're killing a pig and beating a boy, using the boy as a pig. That's not all though. Later on, he punches Piggy because he was mad at him. At first, he didn't really use physical violence, but he punched Piggy. He physically punched him. He used to just yell at him and make fun of him, but he physically punched him, shattering one of his lenses of his glasses. Later on, someone just claims that they saw the beast, and they all go hunting for it. Jack, Ralph, Simon all go out looking for the beast. They think they saw it, but Ralph and Simon are too scared to actually go up to look at it. Jack, on the other hand, says, I'll go kill it. In the end, they're all scared and ran away, but Jack's mentality is completely different, as Simon and Ralph logically think, I'm scared, probably shouldn't go to it. Jack immediately thinks, let's go kill it. Which shows that he's becoming more of a savage and he's more violent at this point. Jack also tries to get take Simon's place as chief. Didn't really work out in the end, and in the end he walks away making his own group. A lot of the boys end up following Jack, but Jack ruled them with fear and overpowered them and used fear of the beast. Jack's group also went out hunting again. They found a mommy pig and they killed it. But they didn't only kill it, they decapitated it and mounted it on a stick. Who kills something and then mounts their head on a stick? He's a savage. So after Jack raids Ralph's group for a fire, Piggy gets fed up. He wants his glasses back. So he goes over to get his glasses. But he also goes over with Ralph. Piggy ends up getting killed, but Ralph ends up fighting Jack. After Ralph realizes that Piggy got killed, Ralph runs for it. Jack also decides that they should kill Ralph, which is pretty violent because now he went from verbally attacking people to killing pigs or punching people to actually wanting to kill another human being. So he gets his group and hunts for Ralph, trying to kill him. They find him and try to burn him out of the bushes, but he ends up burning most of the island. But still, he's still trying to kill a boy. Someone that he's been with for a long time. And he becomes a real savage because he actually thinks it's the right thing. He becomes such a dictator, and he becomes so power hungry that he's willing to kill anybody in his way. But in the end, one of the naval officers finds them on the island. He asks that which one is the leader. Jack didn't really stand up. Ralph took the leadership, and he said he's the leader.